Let's go to Alexis McAdams, who was there that day with more of that stunning footage. Alexis.
Hey, Emily. So being on the ground that day was one angle to see this from, but this body cam footage shows another vantage point. This is in the minutes right after the shooting. You can hear these cops talking about what went horribly wrong. One officer livid, saying he told the Secret Service to secure that roof. Watch.
I'd say this is a
Sorry, not sure which gas company.
somebody up. Why were we not on the roof?
Football from 16 to go somewhere over in the west coast.
Why weren't we?
I told them they need to post the guys over here. I told them that the Secret Service. I told them that Tuesday. I told them to post guys over here.
I have no contact with either side.
What? No, we're inside.
Alpha 1, Bravo 1. Thank you.
I told them to post guys over here.
Yeah, so he's saying he told them to put Secret Service near that rooftop. No one was there but the gunman. So check this out. About 30 seconds before this person opened fire from the roof, one officer had a chance to stop this entire thing, to stop Thomas Crooks. That local cop was boosted up by another officer, but when he saw the armed 20-year-old up on that rooftop, he dropped down to the ground. Then the gunman opened fire. That officer says Thomas Crooks was on his stomach, armed with an AR. Watch.
Up, he's laying down. He's got an arm. Next building over. Right after the gap. He's got glasses, long hair. I need a ladder. I climbed the wall and I popped my head right in front of him, bro. He's got a book bag. He's got mag, AR.
Okay, so according to the timestamps on the body camera footage, the police got up on that rooftop less than 5 minutes after those shots were fired. In one video, you can hear the officers discussing how they spotted this shooter earlier in the day, saying people said he was creeping them out, but hey, they lost track of him.
Who saw him? Paul. No, sniper unit. They called him out early, and then they lost sight of him. You go, bro? Yeah, I know. I hear you.
We were watching.
I know, yeah.
We couldn't find him.
Yeah.
So the Secret Service has responded to the release of these video clips, saying to Fox Digital in part, the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump was a U.S. Secret Service failure, and we're reviewing and updating our protective policies and procedures in order to ensure a tragedy like this never occurs again. So what's next here? Well, local police are preparing to be interviewed by the feds in the coming days, but reminded me on the phone earlier when I talked to the sheriff that they weren't the ones in charge of this security planning in the first place. Emily.
Alexis, quick follow-up. In those 12 videos released yesterday, can you see the shooter on the roof in any of them?
Yeah, so just when I reviewed them in the past 20 minutes or so, I actually found a new clip that shows what looks like to be Thomas Crooks on that rooftop. That's at 6:08, so it's 2 minutes before he started shooting here. So they did have time. It was picked up in the body camera video, Emily, but it's not for sure if that officer who was on the ground even spotted Crooks.
Alexis McAdams, thank you so much. All right, bringing the discussion to the couch, Kaylee, what do you make of this new revelations? It's now 6:08. We have that timestamp, and you couple that with the Secret Service response that says it was an utter failure.
Emily, the footage that you just showed is stunning, and great question about whether you could see the gunman in that footage. Look, I'm struck by the response of the Secret Service. The first sentence of that response, and you might have read it on the screen, was that they are aware in reviewing body cam footage. Wait, what? We are a month out? And your answer is you are aware in reviewing the footage? My gosh, we had a catastrophic security failure of epic proportions. Someone died. The president almost died. Just the turn of a head. And that was compounded by a catastrophic communications failure. And you haven't learned? You're reviewing footage? That's your answer? We need people to step down at Secret Service. This is totally inexcusable. This should have been reviewed, and you should have been aware of it 30 days ago.
And Julie, from the get-go, we had the Secret Service pushing the blame to local law enforcement and then having these weird excuses like the roof was sloped. And right there we are seeing from body cam, how many times did we tell them? We told them to have someone here. What more evidence does the Secret Service or the American people need?
It just shows that our cops in this country are freaking amazing. And the fact that their lives were put on the line because of the ignorance of the Secret Service, the fact that these cops were the ones that had the forthright to actually think ahead and say, we need Secret Service on a roof, which is a perfect aim, 130 yards from where the the president would be speaking on a freaking podium and nobody thought to put somebody up on that roof. The fact that that cop almost got shot. He almost got killed because when he got up onto the roof, the guy turned his gun at him. That's when he ducked. He ended up falling 8 feet. It's a 12-foot high wall. He sprained his ankle, but still ran to try to get help. They shouldn't have been asking for help. The help should have been there already. It could have been prevented. And the fact that nobody has been fired over this is absolutely disgusting. The fact that a former president could have been killed is disgusting. The fact that a former fire chief, a former firefighter was killed because of this, and there has been no accountability whatsoever. And for the Secret Service to come out and say, yeah, we dropped the ball, that's not good enough. And the American people deserve much better.
And Joey, what we're seeing on this body cam, to me, obviously indicates just an utter lack of communication, command structure, which of course falls on leadership's shoulders. My question is to you, what is your analysis, especially with all your combat experience of seeing this body cam footage? What do you make of this new footage and the things we've learned now?
Well, I mean, you got to put it in perspective. We have one police officer, and we don't know what his position is. He might be a team member. He might be a team leader. We don't know if he's in a position of leadership saying, I told you guys, we don't know exactly who you guys are, to put somebody on that roof. What we do know is between the multiple law enforcement agencies and the multiple government agencies, along with the Secret Service, there was not direct communication. The Department of Homeland Security was created 20 years ago for that reason specifically. Cross-communication among different municipalities and federal agencies. The fact that that wasn't followed, if it is a protocol, or it wasn't a protocol enough to be checked before the president got there, that's concerning. I've trained with the Secret Service. I've got peers that work with the Secret Service. All of their EOD or bomb technicians come from the military. I've got buddies that have done 20 or more missions with the Secret Service. Most of them enjoy their relationships with those guys, but will tell you they are not the elite unit of protection that you think they are. And that's a problem. In 20 years of scandal, I can go back to 2005. I'll start at just 2011. A sniper hit the White House, and the Secret Service response immediately was, that's construction noise. In 2012, they were found using their government credit card at an ATM to pay for prostitutes in Colombia and had to be supplemented by air marshals. And in 2014, a guy with a knife made it all the way into the White House, and they said they didn't pull the alarm because people complained about the noise. So there is a cultural training problem. It needs to be looked at. I think it needs to be taken over by an agency that understands the bigger picture of law enforcement and protection, because I know guys that do this as civilians for high net wealth individuals that are much better at it than any of these instances I've seen.
And the heroism, Cheryl, is also populated within the history. For example, Marshall Merarkey, K9 Hurricane in 2012. These men and women put their lives on the line as part of the Secret Service, and they are incredible. And it's the leadership that we are talking about here who has utterly failed and who puts in harm's way those men and women.
It's a failure of management, obviously, coordination, to your point, communication, lack of communication, to Joey's point. But I think at the end of the day, my frustration is really with the overall investigation I think is coming out of Washington. Why is it taking so long for us to get any answers about exactly what happened? This is a month ago almost. And this, I mean, now that we're just getting this new video, maybe this is how it works in Washington. You know, I don't know. On Wall Street, we'd be doing this a lot quicker. But I want some answers. And who's trying to cover up at this point? I mean, you have to ask that question at this point, because someone's trying to, there's a lot of CYA going on. I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. And you said you have some questions, you need some answers. That body cam footage, more answers, more evidence, and just more questions that arise from it. All right, coming up, guys, former President Trump and Vice President Harris say they are ready to face off. Hey, everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.